Hello everyone. Like a douchebag, I'm doing what everyone else is doing because I know it will get me hits. And hits equal sex with hookers. And I love hookers. Welcome to Draw My Life with Onision. Sorry, there's a plane flying over right now. So it all started when my mom pushed me out of her vagina. She was impregnated by my dad, who had a banana. Anyway, so my head was like this big and my chest was like this big, so you can assume that the experience for my mom was pretty painful. Anyway, so when I initially came out, I wasn't breathing due to the fact that I had my umbilical cord wrapped around my neck 3 times. Or 4 times, or whatever. A few months back, the doctor said I was going to be born retarded, so my mom should abort me. But being the good Seventh-day Adventist she was, she said no. So this is awkward. I don't really remember much of anything before the age of 11. And considering my father's an accused child molester, that's probably not a good thing. Stupid planes flying over again. Anyway, so I just want to emphasize that my dad is accused by many people. So when my mom found out, she divorced him and I was only 2 years old at the time. So most of my childhood it was just me, my mom, and my 2 sisters. So through most of school I was made fun of having the last name of Jackson. Everyone said I was related to Michael Jackson, and people made fun of my giant head a lot. But eventually I grew into the size of my head and now no one picks on me for it. I jumped from school to school a lot during my childhood. That's me on a pogo stick jumping. Eventually I was in one place long enough to get a girlfriend and lose my virginity. We broke up like 8 times and eventually it was just over. Most of my high school days were actually spent in college, so I would get more credits for less time. I graduated on time and shortly after joined the US Air Force. I tried to be special forces but then flunked out of that because I refused to kill and eat a rabbit. And even though the Air Force realized I wasn't even able to kill a little rabbit, they decided to put me into security forces. So I trained to become a cop, I graduated on time and then was sent to Oklahoma. I volunteered to be deployed to Iraq twice, but they always listed me as a backup or told me it just wasn't my time to go yet. So then I thought to myself, I hate Oklahoma, and decided to volunteer for South Korea. If you think this is racist, you need to watch South Park more. Anyway, so for some reason a few months later they sent me right over. And after a year or so of being in South Korea, I had a mental breakdown and almost killed myself. But nobody knew I had a mental breakdown because I did it quietly with a 9mm in my head. Yeah, I have no idea what that is, I'm sorry. Point is, I was really sad, but then I went on leave for 30 days. When I came back off leave, I thought everything was okay, but then my supervisor called me a dirtbag. So I turned to my weapons and confessed to somebody that I was suicidal. They promptly sent me over to a therapist where I realized that the reason I was so suicidal is because I was serving an institution which represented death. So I filed to obtain conscientious objector status, and then after about 6 months of waiting for them to finally discharge me, I decided to strip naked in my boss's office due to the fact that they attempted to give me a letter of reprimand based on something that was absolute bullcrap. I was then thrown in jail for about 10 minutes for stripping down naked in front of my boss, but they let me go eat lunch if I promised to keep my clothes on. Anyway, then I got demoted from senior airman to just airman first class. Anyway, a couple months later I was honorably discharged. But that's probably because other than me stripping naked in my boss's office, I had never gotten in trouble. So I served a total of 3 years and 6 months in the US Air Force. And now I'm all about peace. But anyway, for those of you who don't know, you know when I had that M9 to my head and I was incredibly suicidal thinking about pulling the trigger? You wanna know why I didn't do it? Because on November 14th, 2007, I told myself that if I could dedicate myself to YouTube, to entertaining and making people like you happy, to making my stupid life have some kind of meaning, then I didn't need to kill myself. Because I had something to live for. And that's you. So, with all that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. Sorry I'm tearing up a little bit. This happens when I talk about my story, but the point is, I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for making me feel like I'm not completely worthless.